Good afternoon, everybody. I'm back in Neffs Canyon after about 30 days since I was here last, and as you can see, there's already been some changes. I mean, it's been 30 days, of course it will be, but more importantly, I've done some stuff to fix up the footage. I have got the dust off the sensor, which is pretty major because that's pretty annoying, but the biggest thing I've done was that I fixed the noise issue with the wind, so I just put a towel on top of my camera. Now you can't hear it. Like the towel's been on the top of my camera all along, and it masked the wind. So yeah, anyways, let's see what we find. So one plant I'm meaning to talk about a little bit is this one right here. This is Cercocarpus montanus, also known as the Alderleaf mountain mahogany. This one's a deciduous, unlike latifolius, and it's also much less common than latifolius is in this area. And as you can see right here, its leaves, which are just starting to come in, are shaped quite like that of an alder's. If you don't know what an alder looks like, then just take my word on it. That's what they tend to look like. Yeah, pretty nice. It's not so common. I'm always happy to see not so common species. I've really only ever seen this species of Cercocarpus in the Wasatch along this trail right here. So it's a pretty good find, I think. A nice deciduous one. Look at this. What a great time to see all the Erythronium grandiflorum blooming right now. I talk about this plant way too much. I never get tired of it, so I'm going to keep doing that. When you're out hiking, it might be a challenge sometimes to pay attention to the little things, but sometimes it's worth it because you might find something really nice, like this guy right here. This is Claytonia lanceolata. It's just coming up. It's also known as the longleaf spring beauty. It's a member of the family Montanus, and it's a pretty nice one, I gotta say. That's how close I can get. Absolutely tiny flower. I figure for comparison, it's just a really small plant, and it's also one of the very first to bloom, especially at higher elevations. It occurs quite a lot higher than this. This is only like 6,300 feet, but I've seen them up to at least 9,000 feet before. But yeah, it's a really nice species, and it's got these nice stripes, so you can see them on the flower. So I can make it more visible. There we go. Yeah, lovely plant. And we are back in snow country right now. I don't know how much further I can get. This is the Mount Olympus sign right there, the wilderness one. So this is about where I got to last time, and there's still a lot of snow. So I doubt we'll find any interesting plants at all, that's for sure. But I want to see how much further I can get. Oh well. Got some nice conifers right there. All around quite a nice setting. Haven't gotten to show you guys a forest this grand yet. This is incredible. All of them are at least 60 feet tall. Look at that guy right there. That one, that's a really fat one. All of them mostly Aves concolor and Pseudosugum and ZCI. In fact, here particularly it's Aves concolor, the white fir. And man, it's really great up here. Whew. Of course, the soil in this kind of conifer forest is going to be very different. The breakdown of conifer needles and bark produces a very acidic soil that can support very different species, but is also quite tough for me to live in. I mean, we got some of the same stuff growing, like right here. That's the Glacier lily, the Erythronium grandiflorum just coming up, but otherwise there's going to be quite a lot of different species from what we've typically seen, and I do hope I can show that variation in the coming days, the coming months when it's really warm and everything's in bloom. Alright, I'm running out of things to talk about now, so I'll just talk about this plant. This thing right here with the succulent leaves is a species of Sedum, almost certainly. It's a member of the family Crassulaceae, and the genus is also known as stonecrop, colloquially. Regardless though, it normally grows in much rocky areas, like almost bare rock practically, and although there is some rock in the soil, as you can see, it's not really rocky soil. It's pretty deep actually and healthy, but that's what it is. You can see there's some more there. Couldn't tell you what species exactly, but also, you can come over this way. There is this plant which I like to see as well. Ignore the flowers for a second, that's just the Claytonia lanceolata we saw previously. This thing has a leaf right here, that's a species of Delphinium I'm almost certain of, and if not, it's most likely some other member of the family Roundleaf. It's I couldn't tell you for sure just how the leaves tend to look, so I'm going to guess that. and if I'm wrong, I don't really care either. Well, wouldn't this be a really fun place to fall down, just a waterfall? That'll be quite a long fall, you know, because it's a waterfall. Also, you can see up there is a stick that seems to be having a blast. He's really cutting the rug right there. Has some, throwing down some nice dance moves. You'll see that every day, a stick that can dance. Well, now that I've gotten up to about 7,100 feet up, we've entered an entirely new type of forest. This is an aspen, or quaking aspen forest, also known as Populus tremuloides, member of the family Salicaceae, the willow family. In fact, the whole poplar genus is actually quite closely related to the willows. I'm not sure exactly differentiates them, but they are. I know these the Populus tends to be more like trees, while the willows tend to be shrubs. But that's hardly the only thing that differentiates them, because there certainly are some willow species that are pretty grand trees. But yeah, it's a pretty common forest type for the of its elevation, like the upper mid elevations in parts. It's really probably the most dominant deciduous tree species you'll find in these forests. So this is a pretty interesting thing to see. In the understory, it looks like we got some snowberry shrubs, some Symphoricarpos, Erythronium, or rotundifolia, not sure which. And there are some young conifers in it as well. I know that the aspen forest tends to be somewhat dominant after a wildfire, although I doubt there's been a fire for quite a while here. So anyways, another characteristic of the aspen tree, I'm at 7,600 feet now, by the way, is that they reproduce clonally. So they do produce seed occasionally, but the most common way to reproduce is that they will send up shoots from the roots and it'll develop into a full-on tree and then spread out clonally like this. So doubtless here, most of the trees that you see are clones of each other. And since they have the same DNA, when it becomes autumn, they'll respond to temperature exactly the same, so they will all turn yellow at exactly the same time. Speaking of which, the most common color for each tree to turn is yellow. That seems to be sort of the base for them at least, and it's pretty much standard for all the members of the genus Populus and genus Salix, the willows. But also what will happen sometimes is they'll develop these nice splashes of red. Sometimes it's just like a little like splattering of red. Other times it's like it's full on red, and it's I swear the most bright, brilliant red you'll ever see in your life. So it's quite a nice sight to see in the winter. Quick, you see that sort of black fin? It looks like kind of like a turd. That's a type of fungus called black knot. It affects members of the cherry genus Prunus, among them choke cherry. So you can pretty much tell that this plant is indeed a choke cherry, a Prunus virginiana. It's you see it fairly common, and unfortunately though for you foraging types, it's not edible at all. It looks like it's really tough and woody, and I doubt it doesn't taste good, so just ignore it. I don't think it's poisonous, but you wouldn't want to eat it anyways. Well, I finally made it. I'm up at 7,800, 7,900 feet, and there's this really nice meadow we got here. It's of course covered in snow, so there's nothing growing here yet, but again, come back in a month or two, we'll see what's what. This is definitely the target for hiking up here, and it's a pretty nice basin you got right now, you know. Trying to adjust the towel I brought just to keep the wind from messing up the sound. This is where I meant to come to during my last Neffs Canyon hike, but it was just way too snowy, and doubtless would have been much thicker up here. But anyways, I'm gonna go up this way and I'll show you something pretty neat. It's gonna be a nice view of Salt Lake Valley. Take a break from the plants for a little bit, you know. Always better to walk on snow as opposed to dirt, because there could be plants coming up. In fact, there is. Whoa. That is incredible. Everyone, really quick, this shrub right here with the leaves just coming out on it is it's a Sambucus or an elderberry. It's a member of the family Adoxaceae, although originally it was a member of the family Caprifoliaceae, which it is indeed related to that, the family Adoxaceae, but it turns out it actually is part of Adoxaceae instead. Otherwise though, you can see some features of it. It's got compound leaves which are just starting to come out, and they are attached opposite in a branch, so you can see there's on each side two leaves or stems growing out. That's what opposite leaves are, or opposite branches. And I couldn't tell you what exact species it is because it's just like an overglorified stem. Oh, hey, you can see the flower inflorescence right there too. It's a little interesting. But yeah, still can't tell you what species it is, unfortunately. But yeah, that's what it is. I'm gonna have to put my camera down as I descend. There's some young ones too, just like little seedlings, or maybe root propagations. Oh well, lovely down tree right here. Whiteper for sure. Oh, as a bird. I hear a lot of really strange noises in this forest. I think they're just birds. But then I find this tree right here, which I don't remember being broken on the way up. Is this forest perhaps a little bit haunted? The fuck was? Oh god. Okay, oh my god, fuck these stupid noises. Well, we got a whole herd of that Claytonia I was talking about earlier right here. Quite a lot of them. And of course, more of the glacier lily. But otherwise, I'm kind of out of topics to talk about right now, so I'm going to probably wrap this video up now, and if I find anything interesting, I'll just add it on the end. I mean, that's what Mr. Crime Pays with Bunny does, isn't it? Alright, see ya. Another thing really quick, I've been seeing some of these hydrophyllums come up. I didn't make much of it at first, but then I realized they have just a few leaf segments, only like 5 per leaf, as opposed to the many ones that the other species in Mill Creek Canyon had. So that means this is likely actually Hydrophyllum capitatum, which is what I thought the hydrophyllums in Mill Creek Canyon were originally. That one turned out to be Occidental most likely, but this is, again, I say probably capitatum. I can't say for sure, but this is a good indicator. So there you go, another species of the same genus.